Hello and welcome to our Wednesday evening call. Looks like we've got some people here. Before we get started, let's make sure that you can hear and see me. Just type a yes if you can hear and see me. Okay, good. I got one yes. We got two people here, and so let's and before we get started, anybody have questions on anything? Any ads to share? Ads, metrics, products that you want me to review, store setups. Where is everybody on those kinds of things? Any questions? And I'm just going to go into the Facebook group and make sure and just mention in there that we're starting. Let's take a look here. Okay, let's see here. I'm just going to just type in your questions in the chat, of course. I'm going to just make sure everybody knows that we're starting right now. Okay. Okay. All right. Let me go back here. No questions. I'm going to just, I just typed it in there into the group. Anybody with any questions? All right. Okay, I see your website. That looks good. Oh yeah, and your logo is much better. So it's nice and it is wide. Let me just double check. All right, so okay, now there is a problem with your logo. So if you open up the image, you'll see that the name of the store is at the upper part of the image, and there's all that empty white space at the bottom. So that's just going to look like empty, wasted space on your store. So when someone comes to buy, and they're on a mobile device, all that extra white space below the name looks like blank space. So go into that image and crop it, and then upload it again into Shopify. All right, so that'll make it much better. Okay. All right. Okay, I'll check the shipping opposite, but make sure with that image that not narrower, make it shorter from top to bottom. So right now you've got this image, and it's almost square, but you put the name is up in the upper part, and then there's all this white space below. If you open it up, what you need to do is crop it closer to the name, so there's not a whole bunch of extra white space in there. All right, so let me take a look at the shipping. All right. Also, you need to change. There's a part of the setup shows you how to change the color of the checkout. So you definitely want your checkout buttons to all be the same color. So I get into the page where I enter in my phone number and name, and then there's a place there. It says continue to shipping method. It's important to make that the same color as the rest of it, and it's in the instructions. All right, so let me take a look here. Okay, now you've got 3 different tiers of shipping. So if you're starting off with using AliExpress, then this won't work because you don't have those options when you're drop shipping from AliExpress. If you're using a USA-based provider, then and they have these 3 different choices for drop shipping, then you can use that. So, which one is it? Is it are you starting off with AliExpress, or are you doing a USA based? Okay, so you can't use those 3 methods because that's not available to you from AliExpress. So you might either do. Oh, you've got free shipping first. So if you're going to charge shipping, don't offer free. If you're going to just do everything free shipping, just remove all the others, because everyone's always going to select free. I mean, okay. I recommend when you're starting off your stores to keep it really simple and just do free shipping. Just remove the USPS. Those aren't there by default. You have to add those in, so you had to do something to add that in. Because, yeah, you could just remove USPS. It should turn everything into free shipping. So inside your shipping settings, right now you've got a USPS method and a free shipping method. So what you do is remove all the USPS, and it'll go right back to free. And just so you know, if you get stuck on something like shipping or some of these other things, you have Shopify customer services available. You can call them on the phone, or you can get them in chat, and they can walk you through any of this if you get stuck on something. So definitely take advantage of the Shopify support, because they're there to help you out. Yeah, so you can get them 24/7. Okay, otherwise it looks great. I just say just take out those shipping methods and just stick with free to just start up. And then, once you've got something up and going, then you can start working with the charging a shipping method. That's usually the way all my stores start up. When I start up a store, I just leave it on free shipping rather than trying to figure out what everything's going to cost. And then I'll just do that a little bit later. All right. I've not seen any more. Please, anyone here that has questions, type them in the chat, and I'll answer them when I'll answer it. So make sure if you have any questions, type it in the chat box, and I'll answer it. So one of the most common things that comes up with drop shipping is I often have this, and it's totally understandable when someone's starting off. They say, "Hey, I don't want to do AliExpress because it takes too long." Well, now what I recommend is that you use AliExpress for testing. So once you've found a product, so use it for testing. Sell your first 1 or 200 using AliExpress, and once you've after 1 or 200 items sold, and if you're making if it's profitable, it's probably going to work for a long time. And so the next thing is to use AliExpress for testing. I don't recommend AliExpress as a long-term business proposition. It's great for testing because you don't want to have to buy a whole bunch of inventory. That's kind of what people have to do when they sell on Amazon. They've got to go and buy, $3 or $4 or $5 or $10,000 worth of product to send it to Amazon and see if it works. What I like about Shopify and doing drop shipping is I can test a product. I don't need any inventory, and I won't buy any inventory until it's proven to be a good item. And it's usually a couple hundred products that I sell and drop ship. So once I've found something that works, and I've got that first couple hundred orders that looks like, hey, this is a winner. I'll go and now I'll go into Alibaba, and there's some in the training that talks about this. You want to go and get bids from multiple suppliers on Alibaba. So AliExpress is primarily designed for people that are only going to buy one or two or something. Alibaba is designed for people that are buying in bulk. So it may be, that might be 10 pieces or 100 pieces or 1,000 pieces. But what I do is once the product has proven itself, then I'll go on to Alibaba and I'll find, maybe a dozen different suppliers that sell that product. Hopefully, perhaps one of those suppliers that I find is the actual manufacturer. But in many cases, even on Alibaba, there are lots of, it's mostly wholesalers. So then what I'll do is on Alibaba, I'll find a whole bunch of suppliers, then I'll actually contact them there. There's a little thing that you fill out. There's just a little, when you find the supplier, you just fill out a little form, and it'll guide you right through this on Alibaba. And you just tell them what, which product you want, how many you want to buy, and so forth. So what I typically do is, I'll typically buy, for my first order, I'll buy 200 pieces, just to start off, because I'm, when you're doing a business like this, it's not that you first, of course, have to make sure the product is going to be a winner. Also, you need to make sure that you have a good supplier. So what I do is, if I'm going to order 200 of this item and bring it in to a USA fulfillment center, then what I'll do is I'll order, I'll get bids. So maybe I'll find a dozen suppliers on Alibaba, and then I'll take the best two, the two that have the best prices, and then I'll ask each one of them. I'll say, how long, I want to order 100. What's my cost, and how long will it take for you to fulfill? And I'll ask that of the two that I've picked as the winners. I'll ask them both the same thing, and then what I'll do is then I'll pay them, and then I'll wait for them to come in. Now, I've had situations where one of the suppliers is much faster than the other. So when that happens, when I reorder, I'm going to make that reorder from the customer, from the supplier that was the fastest. Now, typically when I'm doing this, I specifically select products that are small and easy to ship. And so with having smaller items, it makes it less expensive to ship. So in many cases, air freight, I just use air freight for my shipment. So with air freight, I can usually, by the time I place the order, and I can often get the supplies within 10 days. So when I'm ordering, I've got something I'm really scaling and I'm planning ahead, I may order it and ship it sea freight. However, for your first couple of orders, you probably want to just do air freight, and especially if you have a small product. And the supplier, the company that you buy from, they should be just ask them, when you ask for the quote for 100, you're going to ask them a quote for ship. You ask them to include shipping as well. So air freight. So air freight will typically come in using either DHL or a Federal Express. And so the reason why you want to ask the supplier for the shipping quote is because those companies in China are high volume users of shipping, and they can often give you a quote for a price that you could not get on your own. So, and one of the reasons why you want to do 2 suppliers is so you can see that, I mean, they should be pretty close as far as cost for shipping. So if one supplier is charging you, 50, 20, 40, 50, 100% more in shipping, well, you may want to go out and get another quote. But for the most part, those shipping estimates from the suppliers should be fairly close. Now, you're probably going to, they may ask you to send a wire transfer or something like that. For the first order, just talk to, communicate with the supplier and see if you can use one of the Alibaba payment methods, which is very likely to be, a credit debit card or some other method. But that's usually not a problem. I mean, I typically, I usually pay with either PayPal or a wire transfer. So usually wire transfer a little bit later, but whatever you feel comfortable with. So when you do a wire transfer, it's like giving cash. I have not had a problem from any of the suppliers that I've used. Not to say that people have not, but it does sometimes someone is not honest, but I've never had in the, almost 2 decades of doing importing, I've not had any problems with someone not shipping. And what I do is, and you can see if a supplier's been around for a long time, there'll be lots of feedback on it. But you can, the easiest thing to do is just use the Alibaba payment method, and that'll be fine for your first order. And then later on, you might want to talk to your bank and find out about what you need to do a wire transfer. So, I mean, if you have most business accounts on most major, United States banks, you can do I can just do a wire transfer right there in my online banking. All right. Any questions about what I talked about? Testing with drop shipping. Once you've got a proven product, you start buying in bulk, and then you get quotes on Alibaba, and buy split. And then what you're basically doing, split testing suppliers. At least try 2 suppliers to begin with, and so you can find one that you're going to like one of them better than the other. One may communicate better, one might be faster, one might be slower, and then you can make a decision. And so when you're at the point that you're ready to do that, and you've got a proven product that's working well, then also you're going to need a USA fulfillment center. And so I work, there's a gentleman that I know that has a fulfillment company, and if you've got something ready to go and you're bringing it in, then I could recommend, once you're at that point when you're ready to order in bulk, just let me know. I can recommend a place, and they have very, very low cost fulfillment. Okay, some questions here. Yes, so typically, once I've made 100 sales on a product, then I'm going to start looking for suppliers. So if I've sold 100 or more, it's been profitable, then that's when I'm going to start looking for suppliers, start getting bids, start figuring out what it's going to cost for me to bring it in. Okay, another question, is manual bidding working for you these days, or is it duplicated ad sets that comes to scaling? Well, manual bidding is not what it used to be like a year ago, but duplicated ad sets don't work for me either. So what I found with manual bidding is I can get it to work, but it usually will spend so little that I'd say I can get it to work maybe 20 or 30% of the time, and where it'll do pretty good. But what I'm finding is that when we're bidding low, it's not really doing exactly the way I thought it would, that it used to do. But what I do find, okay, so I want to here's one of the techniques I'm using these days, is that normally I'm seeing, Facebook. Usually my most profitable ad spend in a 24-hour day cycle is in the morning till late afternoon. And then what seems to happen now, I may not be doing the right terminology, but it seems like Facebook does whatever it can to spend the rest of it in the evening. And so what I find is that the ad spend in the evening is often they're just spending it. But one of the things I've done that's really helped is now what I do is even in like a $10 a day ad set, I'll put a max bid of $30. And what that seems to be doing is preventing Facebook from overbidding on traffic in the evening. And so it's kind of overall made like that from morning till late at night a little bit more regular as far as profitability. Okay, does that make sense about manual bidding? So these days what I'm doing, I'll start up all my ad sets. It's like, like when it's something new, it may be 10 or 20 or something dollars a day. And then on maybe a dozen ad sets. And then what I'm doing is I'm putting in a $30 max bid. And that seems that from what I found, it really helps out, making sure it's a little bit. Now that's a max bid. It's not the average, it's max. So it's the first option. But and I do not duplicate ad sets. So my normal process for scaling is to increase budget. So I'm typically, if I'm cautious, I'll update the budget like 20 to 25%. If I'm feeling real aggressive, I'll double the budget. You said, do you still go with higher daily budget? If it's a budget, if that question is budget scaling, that's what I do, is budget scaling. And then with all the different audiences I can do, I have so many. There's so many capabilities of having lots of audiences. I'll do, different percentage lookalike audiences. I'll do, 1 to 10. Oh, I'm sorry, 1 to 5, 5 to 10, and then I'll do a 1 to 3. Then I'll do like 10 more. 5 more. So it's like each of them have like. It's 1 to 2, and so forth. Once you have a winner, would you start an ad set with a day? Oh, sure, you can do that, but I usually still start them up lower. I found so very likely when I do high budget manual bidding, I'm trying to set, when I do high budget, I'm looking to when I'm doing high budget manual bidding, I'm trying to make it so Facebook does not use the whole budget. That way I know there's like 2 kinds of manual bidding. There's one where I don't want Facebook to spend the whole budget. That's usually with a high budget. I want to constrain Facebook with my bid. So my bid is low enough that it's giving me sales at the cost per purchase that I want. Okay. So yes, if I do $1,000 a day, I start those off at like $7, a $7 bid. And then maybe every couple hours, I'll raise the bid. And then sometimes it may take me 2 or 3 days to get that worked out. So I might start at $7, and then I'll kind of go to 8, 2 or 3 hours later, and then I'll find the place where it starts spending, and then I'll monitor the cost per purchase. And often it takes once you've kind of got some traffic coming in and it's selling, then what I usually find that 24 hours later, that my cost per purchase will go down slightly, like it's kind of figuring things out. Okay. So there's a question thing in here. Hi, Frank. Sorry, I'm a little bit late. Now, and I saw that you've been here since the very beginning. Question is how to find the wholesaler. I talked about that. I started off this call talking about using Alibaba. Were you away from your computer for that? So I'll wait for your answer because I answered that at the beginning. So you were gone. Okay. Well, you on Alibaba, go find 12, like a dozen suppliers of the product, that have the best price that you can find. Then you contact them and ask them for a quote. And I went into a lot of detail about shippings and payments and all sorts of things at the beginning. So the replay should be up tomorrow, and you can take a look at that because I talked about finding. And so just after I post the replay, if there's any more questions, just let me know in the Facebook group. I went through finding the supplier, split testing suppliers, paying the supplier, and air freight shipping, and which is what you'll typically do. So just watch for the replay tomorrow. Yeah, I specifically started with that because I saw you were here, and I know you've been asking about that. But the replay will be up tomorrow. I went through a lot of that already on this call. Yeah, so Alibaba is for buying in bulk. AliExpress is for buying one or two. Okay, so just watch the replay after I post it, and just post any question you have in the Facebook group. Any other questions? Yeah, it's been. I don't think I got enough water today. It's been kind of hot, warm. My office, the air conditioner wasn't quite cool enough. So that's I kind of started. I just started off this call talking about drop shipping and then transitioning into buying in bulk and using a fulfillment warehouse. So when you've got something that's successful, just let me know, and I'll refer you to a good fulfillment warehouse. They do a great job, and they have a low cost. And let me see here. Okay. Let me get back here. Any questions? So when you're doing, I'll just continue on when you've got something that's working well, a large percentage of my scaling is done I have lots of ad sets. So I may have at any given time anywhere from, from 10 to maybe 24. So I'll test out lookalike audiences of all different sizes. I'll do initiate checkout lookalike audiences and add to cart lookalike audiences and test those out. I'll test out 95% video view lookalike audiences. And then what I do in my retargeting ads is I will say, for example, I'll usually start a retargeting audience. Retargeting ad set at $5 a day, and if it performs well, then I'll add after several days, if it's performing well, I'll add another $5. Then after 1 or 2 days more, if it's still working well, I'll add another $5. And I'll just keep doing that. I'll keep every 1 or 2 days, I'll add another $5 until I start to see it falter. So if it goes like for a couple days that it's not working really well, I'll move it back down another $5. So the retargeting audiences are not as fickle as like lookalikes and interest targeting and things like that. It's really straightforward. It's much more linear than others are. But it's like $5 a day. And I mean, it's totally different scaling method because we're dealing with a much smaller audience, and they're also much more familiar with the ad. So I just want more and more people to see it. So so some of those, when I'm really scaling things out, the retargeting can get to be a pretty big audience, and it can go up to some decent budgets, and those are almost always my highest ROI. Also, if you could, I've now start doing a separate video view retargeting. So I take the 95% video views and just run a retargeting ad set for that. And I find that sometimes it'll go like, what I've noticed, it'll go for like a week or two and work really well, and then it just doesn't seem to work very well. So I find that my video view audience, I have to monitor a little bit more, and I end up turning it off sometimes. Like right now, I'm not running a video view retargeting because it just was not. It was spending money and not making money. It would go a day where the regular retargeting was making loads of sales at a really low price. Some days the video view retargeting was not converting at all. So when I said that the video view retargeting is strictly video views, I exclude all the audiences that are in the retargeting. So people that have it's only people that have viewed but not clicked. So I let the regular retargeting do all the people that have clicked but didn't buy. That gets all those. Video views are people that have viewed but not clicked. So many with a video view, the idea is they keep seeing the ad over and over and over and over, and at some point they'll click. Now, as soon as they click, if they click and they don't buy, now they're in the regular retargeting, and they're no longer in the video view retargeting. So, anybody who's got some retargeting working? It's probably your best ROI, your best ROAS in that one. And all right, so any questions? Any other questions? And what else do we have here? What else came up this week? Okay, with the yeah, I've had I have a product I'm testing, and I've a small percentage. We started getting a couple calls this week for a batch of orders that went to some other place in the United States, and it's like the customs is really slow. So it's like usually I find most of my AliExpress drop shipping when we're testing, the customer will usually get it in anywhere from usually 10 days to 2 weeks is typical. And we've got some where it hasn't even come out. It's like stuck for 2 weeks and no updates. All right. All right. And any other questions? I know there's a question out there somewhere that someone hasn't asked. Yeah, the big the whole AliExpress drop shipping is that's you got to get yourself to a point where you can start bringing them in. And okay, all right, see your message. All right, we'll see you on the next call. Yeah, I know there's people in the Facebook group. They should be on these calls, and they're not showing up. All right. So, any questions here? Anybody else? Oh, we can end early. Okay. To build a good front page, can I use Shopify app? What is the Shopify app? So the front page of your store. Okay. To build it, you can. Well, the front page is just where you show your product. You put any products you want there. I in the training, if you're setting up a store for my training, then you will. There's a file where you can upload 8 products. So just put whatever products you want there. You don't have to use the ones that I include. You can definitely put something else in there. Just put whatever you want there on the home page. Just make sure it looks neat. That it's if there eight of them fill up the space pretty good. Now, what is a Shopify app? You just select in the collections. You just select which ones you want on the front page. Okay. I don't know if you're thinking of the Dropify app or the Oberlo app. Those are 2 apps to import products from AliExpress and also to fulfill orders on AliExpress. I'm not sure if that's what you're looking for. So yeah, so just put whatever you want on that homepage, and that's fine. So Henry, have you got some things that you're? I don't know think I've seen a list of products from you. Do you have any products you would like me to critique that you're considering promoting? This is the time. The chat is private, so I'm the only one that sees anything in the chat. So that's completely private. Okay, so let me know if you have any questions because I'm not seeing many questions tonight. I'm more than happy to stay on for the next hour if there's lots of questions, but if there's no questions, I'd like to end. So please, anything, let me know. We've talked a lot in the beginning about getting things wholesale and in bulk. But I need some questions. All right, any other questions? Let me just check something here. Yeah, I think, Henry, we've got a call is it tomorrow? On Friday, we've got a call, so we'll talk a lot about this. We can talk a lot about this stuff on our call, on our one-on-one call. Yep, Friday. Yep. All right. Okay, so I'm not seeing any more questions, so I'd like to end, but if there's a question, just let me know in the chat. This will be a short call. Okay, great. I don't see any more questions, so we're going to end the call, and we'll talk. Henry will talk on Friday, and for everybody else, it'll be in a week. Look forward to talking to you then, and have a great evening. And I look forward to our next call.